So I'm just on my way up to the Kamloops area. We're gonna film with Dale and Brian for a week or so. Get our normal few shows done in the springtime. It's mid-May. I just want to do a little talk on chironomiding today. I've got a beautiful little lake here. It's just on my way through over to Kelowna from trail, and it can be a great chironomiding lake. It's mid-May, as I mentioned. Ideal for chironomids. The chironomids are just starting to come off. We've got some small ones, but I'm just going to show some techniques today. Mainly, indicator fishing. If I go and search around, I might show you some deep line, but definitely some indicator fishing, and just some of the techniques and the setups we use to chironomid. So that's today. So take your sport fishing on the fly, COVID style. So starting out, I always like to have my sounder going. It's always good to have a sounder. If you don't have a sounder, you got to look for happy fish. And then I'm just looking, I'm looking at the screen, looking at the depth. I'm kind of cruising at 22 feet. I've got a fish at 11 feet. And I just like to move around at different depths until I find a few. And then once I find a few, I'll usually anchor up inside. So meaning I anchor in shallower water and cast out towards them. So I'll just keep looking until I usually stop when I see 3 or 4 on the screen, 3 or 4 good ones. Water temp's pretty good, 57, but I haven't really seen any yet. So when I see some, we'll anchor up, try to catch a few. Out there. So right now I'm just anchored in 12 feet of water, not even 8 feet, fishing out to about 15 feet. I've got my fly only hanging down 6 to 7 feet because the fish are kind of keying around the top right now. And then later on I'll move it a little lower, but right now I spotted some feeding at like 8 to 10 feet. So I'm only down about 6, 7 feet. The fish are looking up. So we'll see if we can get a few this way. And they want it just moving. When you've got her, when you don't have a wind, you got to give that fly a little motion. Just give it a little movement once in a while just to attract them, let it sit. Just short little pulls. That's a good one. That's a good one. Get a little bigger. Funny in a minute. Oh, I always get him in the top lip. Unhook it. Oh, yeah, help is out. Then the net. Out of it. Okay. Oh, get out of there. Oh, there. Guys out. Another little guy. None of the big guys yet, but eventually we'll get there. There's a nice little chrome panask. Now we're looking for the 5-pounders. They're in here. But it's good action. Yeah, and here's some nice adults sitting on the boat. Right there. You know, it's a good way to tell what's hatching too. You can see the size there. You can see them sitting on the water. You can see they're black. Some blacks, some size 16, some 14. But without having a throat sample of fish, you can actually see what they're feeding on. Sometimes there's just nothing better than a wind drift. You know, you get a nice wind drift, cast up straight into the wind, let that fly sink, and let that indicator drift back with the wind. It can be just so effective. You know, there now fish is down, fly is down. Okay, there you go. Hopefully it stays in there. Oh, everybody saw how effective the wind drift was. Oh, nice fish too. Oh. Yeah, wind drift, you can't beat it. When you get a good wind drift, it's just the best. Oh, man. Come on. Nice little guy to start. Get a picture. Go in. Flies out. Just hold them up for everybody. Nice little guy to start. Nice little panask. Beautiful. There he goes. So let's quickly show the fly we're using. It's one of my favorites. It's right there, anti-static bag, red rib. Anti-static bag. It's got the brown top, black bead. You can't beat it. You know, anytime you've got like chromies or really dull color chironomids, you put on that, you know, that anti-static bag color is really nice. Gives it a chrome color. The red rib you can't beat. The brown top, so any kind of rust brown thread, the black bead, and of course the antron on the top, and you get some killer patterns. You know, right now size 14's coming off, so pretty good size. So I've got a decent one on there. Got it on a cheater hook, and I tied that on a little longer size 12 and 14 hooks, 2X long, and they work good. So let's quickly go over the setup. Now, there's a few things I use, a few little tricks. What I always do off my dry fly line, of course, I'm using a 10-foot rod, 5 weight. You know, it's ideal. You want a longer rod when you're casting indicators, and I use quite a big indicator. You can use small ones, really personal preference. But see how thick that leader is. What I like to do is go with a 12-foot or 15-foot, and I always start with like a 12-pound test leader, real thick, because I want it thicker, so when I make the loop in my indicator, it doesn't get, you know, it does kinkle up on you, it does get creased, but it's a lot easier to peg. You don't have to peg it as hard, and it pops a lot easier when you put that in there with thicker leaders. So I usually use about a 12-pound, even 14-pound to start, long. Then I'll go down to another stretch, a lot thinner. So I'll go 12 to 14 down to 8-pound test. You know, and again, a long length, just to get me down to the bottom if I'm fishing deep. And then I just go down to my swivel, which is a little tangled at this point. So there's a swivel there. Go down your swivel, and then again a few feet, not even, like 1.5 feet, 2 feet down to your fly, and just keep varying your fly to get the right fly. But again, a good trick, really at the head end, to stop all the creasing in your line. Use thick leader, like 12-foot, 12-pound, or even 14 pounds, something quite heavy. Then go down to a lot less, you know, 8-pound test or even 10. Down to your swivel, and then from your swivel down to your fly, 6-pound test or 5, or whatever you're fishing for. So there's some good tips on your chironomid setups. time it calms out, it seems to get better. But they want it moving. That's the problem. Oh, there it is there. Nope, just a hook. Swim them up there, buddy. Another little guy. Where are the big guys? The big ones today. Not yet. They're all these stock panask, I think. Oh. Yeah. There. Come on. Yeah. So I'm just going to show you a few of the chironomids I've been using. These are just a few of my special little box here that I've used all spring. And again, they're the winos from our site, the black and reds, a couple of chromies that I've tied up. Let's put my rod here. And there they are there. You can see, you know, all the winos up on the top here, in the very top. Then I've got the blacks, you know, all the shadow chironomids. Shadow chironomids you can't beat. They've got the, you know, the black rib, the silver rib, red rib. Same with the winos. Winos have the, you know, I usually fish the winos a little bit deeper. I like them for the deep line chironomiding, and the shadows in a little tighter. And then of course I got my special ones down here. You know, so a couple of the lighter bodies, some other darker browns. And these are just some of the mainstay ones I've been using this spring. But I've got a whole other box I'll show you after. But this one is really all you need. You don't need a whole lot of colors in the spring. Black and reds, some maroon color, pretty well got her beat. So I'm in my little frog boat today, which is absolutely perfect. And I'll show you the setup. You know, I can stand it, goes together real easy. I always got a front anchor system off there. You know, it's got nice holding spot for the net. You can put your anchor in those other holes. Over here I've got you know, all my mounts, my Scotty mounts for, there's my sounder, Scotty mount. I've got my sounder on the side so I can look at everything. I've got my sounder there. And of course I've got my rear anchor, and I just modified it on the transom, so I've got both. And that's the ideal setup. You know, when you're chironomiding, you don't want to move too much. You want to make sure your boat's pretty steady, so it's ideal to have the front and rear anchor. And again, these frog boats, they're fantastic. You know, I can stand, I got tons of room. I put everything under the front. I've got all the room to move. I've got two other rods in here. Got my electric motor, the battery, like I said, my Scotty mount, and my other Scotty holder for the camera. It's just fantastic. So if you're ever looking at a good lake boat for small lakes, not big lakes, small lakes, pick up a frog boat. So now hopefully these fish start moving again. Now it's about halfway through the day. I've caught quite a few small ones. Normally this area can hold some big fish. Like I said, I've caught them up to 5 pounds in here. Haven't seen many big ones moving, a lot of small ones. Still good action. You know, it's fun seeing your indicator going down, or your bobber, I should say. I'm gonna go and cruise around. So what I like to do, so if all the smaller fish are moving around the top or in these shoals, sometimes I'll go and locate the big guys. Sometimes the big guys are sitting down at 18, 20 feet, just chowing down on chironomids down deep, and all the small guys are feeding in the shallows, but small ones are pecking at it. So what I think we'll do, let's get another cast out here, give it about 5 minutes, and I think I'll show you what I do. I just go around with my sounder and I look them out, look for them, and if I see big fish sitting, you know, near the bottom, just moving through, that's when I'll show you the deep lining. That's when it can be deadly. But maybe I'll catch a couple more little guys while I'm here. Our size, get a little bigger as we go. Okay, fly out, flies out. Okay, well, a little bigger, skinny, but there it goes. Still need the big one. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the day. It was pretty cash. You know, we showed a few hookups, showed you the setup for chironomiding. We didn't get any deep lining in. There was just nothing moving in the deep water, nothing that would bite. But you know, we got some smaller fish, And it actually should be a good season coming up. You know, I'm heading up to Kamloops to start filming Series 27. Imagine, 27 years we've been doing this for, which is pretty cool. Hope everybody enjoyed it, and I hope everybody enjoys the show. We got Series 26 coming out later this year, and again, Series 27 for next year that we're filming now. So take care, conserve waters. We'll see you next time we take you sport fishing on the fly, COVID style. To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one showing, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.